Hello, everybody. It's me, Shannon LaBruyere. I am live and loving it tonight. It is Sunday, September 29th, 2019, and welcome to Sunday Night Live, where we work on ways to start our week Monday morning strong. Jamie, hi, I'm glad you're here. Samantha, mwah, I'm glad you're popping on. Barbara, so glad to see you. Margaret, yay, Margaret, I'm glad you're here. Elizabeth, so glad you're joining. This is awesome, you guys. Thank you so much for jumping on to Sunday Night Live. We are going to talk about something tonight that is, well, if we can get our brains around it, it is going to change our world. Mary, I'm so glad you were able to make it on tonight. I know last week you were looking and couldn't find it. Dawn, welcome. Gosh, I love seeing all these people roll on. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Yep, Mary found us on time, so I'm glad about that. Welcome, welcome. So we're going to talk tonight a little bit about the power that we all possess. The power that we all possess. Before we jump in, oh, hi, Sylvia. I'm glad you're here. Before we jump in, I want to share a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to say hi to Abby. Abby is watching via YouTube because Abby doesn't have a Facebook account. So Abby, I just want you to know, I'm glad you're tuning in on the YouTube channel. And if you guys know anybody who doesn't have a Facebook account but wants to grow, wants to thrive, feel free to share with them my YouTube channel. You just type in Shannon LaBruyere on YouTube and they can go in and subscribe. They'll get notified whenever there's a new video and they'll be able to learn and grow. And I'm so glad to see you. Glad you're here. Thank you for jumping on. Yay! And there's Ann sharing some love. I love it. All right, so the other thing I wanted to mention is we have another Leadership Mastermind group starting on Saturday morning, October 12th. It'll run for 3 weeks, 3 Saturdays in a row, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And the mastermind topic is leading in challenging times. So if you are a leader who is facing challenges right now, this is going to equip you to be able to do well. If you are a leader who's had smooth sailing all this time, kudos to you. You are a rare bird and it's not going to last. Just take it from a leader. So your time is coming. Challenging times are on your horizon. It's better to be prepared for what comes our way than to be scrambling, trying to figure out what to do when the challenge actually hits. So I want to invite all of you to join me for the Leadership Mastermind that starts October 12th. It's reasonable to jump in. I want everybody to have access to quality leadership teaching. It's only $25, which is a cheap price to pay to get in, but don't let that fool you. Because the people who are in that mastermind group are there to learn. They're there to jump in, stretch, grow. It's a beautiful thing. So if you're interested, just drop it in the comments. I'll send you some info. And Davin, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Whew. All right, you guys, let's get started talking about the power that we all possess. I don't know about you, but I just got sick of every time I turned around, people cutting me off in traffic, people being rude to me at fast food restaurants, people not doing what I asked them to do at work, all kinds of stuff that just was getting my goat constantly. And I felt like that all my good energy was always being jerked around. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but it's happened to me. And I can tell you that it's no fun and it is draining. And it wasn't until I realized the power that I have that I was able to stop reacting constantly. And I was able to start being proactive, which then guarded my energy. So I want to talk to you about the 3 powers that we all possess that will change the way you approach your world. And when you change the way you approach your world changes. All right, so here's the first one. If you're writing them down, I'll give you all 3 at once. The first one is, I have the power to choose my thoughts. I have the power to choose my thoughts. The second one is, I have the power to take action. I have the power to take action. And number 3 is I have the power to decide. I have the power to choose my thoughts. I have power to take action, and I have the power to decide. So let's start with the first one. When I am secure in my power to choose my thoughts, it frees me up to listen to opinions that differ from my own. Are you sick and tired of getting all riled up because people have opinions that you just know are wrong? This is the thing. When we can really embrace the fact that I have the power to choose my thoughts, I'm not threatened by somebody else's thoughts. And this is important because as leaders, we have to be open to hearing what other people have to say. We can't just get flared up and get irate and jump in and overreact when we're in charge. We got to keep it open. Davin says this, when you choose the way you approach your world, your word changes. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for noting that. And Jason, I saw your little question about thoughts and we'll get back to it. Dawn, I'm glad you're here. I saw Bill Lane jump on. I saw a new person. I'll have to scroll back and see who you were. So I'm glad you're here. But this is the thing, when I'm secure in my power to choose, I am free to listen to opinions that differ from mine. That power that we have to choose our thoughts allows us the freedom to listen to others. If you are a leader, if you are a parent, if you are a PTA member that doesn't listen, I want you to embrace that there's no threat to hearing what other people have to say when we're secure in our power to choose our thoughts. It's an amazing thing. Tanya, I'm glad you're here. Cassidy, I'm glad you jumped on. I'm seeing all kinds of folks. Thank you so much for being here. All right, so a few years back, I was on a long drive to a conference with a friend that if you would have asked me, I would have told you that we thought about everything the same way. Now, you know that is ridiculous, right? But honestly, as we have gotten to know each other over the years, I really thought that this friend and I saw eye to eye on everything. And as we're driving on this commute, and I'm trapped in a car with her, that gives you a clue to how this conversation went. I was trapped in a car with her, and she decides to start sharing her opinion about a very divisive issue. And I'm not going to list the issue here because I don't want it to detour us. Suffice it to say, it is an issue that people feel really strongly on this side. They feel really strongly on this side. And there is a lot of this that happens. And when my friend said that she fell on the opposite side of this issue, you could have knocked me over with a feather. And so I'm going to share with you how I reacted. I got defensive. How many of you get defensive when you've got an opinion, when you have a thought that differs from someone else's thoughts? And Stacy, thank you for saying I'm right. I don't hear that often enough, so I love it when I hear it. And I'm glad you jumped on too, by the way. So yeah, I'm seeing some thumbs up. You know what it feels like when somebody has an opinion that's greatly different than yours and you start feeling defensive. So you immediately start gathering all your ammunition, right? And that's what I did. So while she is telling me all of the reasons why she believes this opposite side of the coin about this issue, I was busy gathering my salvo. I was ready to just let her have it. And I did. And so for about 45 minutes, we went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, each of us just restating this has happened to you. You know this has happened to you. Each of us restating why we thought we were right. And I forgot where my power lies. I forgot where my power lies. And so at the end of that conversation, both of us were riled up, both of us were frustrated, and neither of us had any better understanding of where the other person was really coming from on that issue. This is what I wish I had remembered. I wish I had remembered that I have the power to choose my thoughts. And so I don't have to fear listening to someone else's side of an issue, no matter what it is. Because at the end of our conversation, no matter what is said, I'll still be able to choose the way I fall on it. Always remember, you have the power to choose your thoughts. It's going to allow you to be less frustrated, and it's also going to allow you to build connections with people, because I promise you this, many people are not wanting to convince you, they just want you to hear them. When they're heard, this is people that we lead, this is people in our family, these are the people that sit next to us in pews at church. When we listen to them, they are content. We don't have to agree when people feel heard. And people will feel heard when I embrace my power to choose my thoughts. It gives me the freedom to listen to others. Let's see, Davin says this, the most powerful way to be heard is to choose to listen. Amen. That's 100% right. When we choose to listen, Stephen Covey puts it this way: seek first to understand, then be understood. It's one of the 7 habits of highly effective people, and it's a beauty. It's one that has served me well. Seek first to understand, then be understood. When we understand that we have the power to listen, changes everything. All right, so the second thing, when I am secure in my power to act, I am free to act at the right time. And I love those hearts. I'm glad you were liking that, Jay. I saw a thumbs up. Thank you. When I am secure in my power to act, I know I can take action. I am free to act at the right time. This, my friends, is called discernment. But I have to be secure in my power to act, or else I am going to fall prey to the knee-jerk reactions that I am so prone to when somebody pushes one of my buttons, right? Case in point, today I am driving to church. I'm driving to church, people, and somebody pulled out in front of not just me, but also a pickup truck. We're going 50 miles an hour. There are several lanes they could choose from. They want ours. And so I have to swerve out of the lane, and I'm in the second lane now, and I'm feeling a little irritated. And so at my earliest opportunity, whoosh, I swoop right back in front of her. And I look in my rearview mirror, and let's just say she was angry. I didn't use discernment. I'm on my way to church. I spent the next 10 minutes trying to talk myself down off the ledge about that stupid driver who pulled out in front of us, and then she had the nerve to be mad. People, when I'm secure in my power to take action, I'm free to act at the right time, and I'm free to act in the appropriate way. Kayla, I'm glad you're here. Vicki, I'm glad you're here. We've got so many good people jumping on. I love it. Thank you. So when I'm secure in my power to take action, I'm free to act at the right time. How many of you have ever been in an exchange where somebody was maybe yelling at you? Maybe they did you wrong. Maybe they overcharged you at the store. Maybe they cut you off in traffic. Maybe it's your boss at work. Somebody does something that sets you off, and your first reaction is to lash out, right? It's to lash out. I'm going to tell them, I'm going to give them what for. I'm going to tell them what I think. I am going to let them know, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times we tell ourselves, it's the principle of the thing. But truth bomb, it is not the principle of the thing. It is you not being secure in your power to act. Jay, I see you were assaulted a couple weeks ago. And, you know, if you're being physically assaulted, what a different thing that is, right? Now we're talking about police action, right? We're talking about these are things that are breaking the law. So, yeah, on those extremes of the spectrum, having the discernment to act appropriately no matter where we are on the pendulum, having the power to know that we will be able to act appropriately helps us so much to know whether we have to act immediately or whether we have some time to wait. Ron is saying that he blows kisses, especially in traffic. I'm just wondering, Ron, if those are heartfelt kisses. Are those the kind of kisses that you're sincerely trying to share love? I just wonder. Yes, when we are practiced at understanding that we always have the power to act, and it doesn't always mean that we have to act now, it frees us up to do the right thing at the right time. It frees us up to do the right thing at the right time because we don't feel like everything's an emergency. Our refrigerator is messed up. It's a bottom drawer freezer, and there is a design flaw in that freezer drawer, and it is causing me great grief. It's causing ice to build up. It is making me angry. And my first thought is to call the store that I bought it and start reading them the riot act about this terrible refrigerator they sold me. But I'm secure in the knowledge that I'll be able to act when it's appropriate. And so I do not make that call when I'm really angry about chopping off the block of ice, right? I am secure in the knowledge that I'll be able to act. If you are a leader, if you lead a team and your team is giving you feedback that is unpleasant, that inspires anger or embarrassment, shame, irritation, when sometimes our employees, you know what, they push back a little hard. When we are secure in our power as a leader, we can understand I can always revisit this. I can let this session calm down. I can bring it to a close, and then I can intentionally embrace my power to act at the right time when I've had a chance to think it through. Not everything that feels like urgent is actually an emergency. If you're being assaulted, it is important to know what to do. I support 100% being trained so that as women, if we get jumped, we know what to do. Jay, you said you were assaulted. I know you've had some really specific training from the military. When we got the right power, we're able to exert it when it's appropriate. So we have to know we've got it. We have to embrace our power, because when we embrace our power to act, it allows us to act appropriately at the right time, otherwise known as discernment. Okay, Ron says this, trying to get them to realize they are yelling doesn't always work, but when they do, it's kind of nice. We all get mad sometimes and blow up, guilty myself. Great advice and empowering video. Thank you, Ron. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for the compliment. Okay, the third thing that we're going to talk about is when I am secure in my power to decide, I can seek input from my team. And of course, we all know you can fill in the blank there. The people that you work with every day, the people that you are with day in and day out, that are not always swimming in the same direction, right? But when we know that we have the power to decide, we can ask for their input, knowing that we still have the power to make the final decision. All right, so Jay says, I'm guilty of being a jerk in a big truck. Jay, I believe you. I believe you. You are one of many people who act like jerks in big trucks sometime. But I know you're working on it, right? Because here you are, right? You're here. So you must be trying to get better. Brian, I'm so glad you just jumped on. Welcome. All right, when I am secure in my power to decide, I can seek input from my team. Years ago, I was working with some managers in a processing plant, and their project, these managers, was to improve some of the ways items were being processed on this big long conveyor belt. And essentially the items would go down this conveyor belt, and then somebody would program, type of little things into a keyboard, and then the machine would push the item into the correct bin. So it was a process. And these managers had recognized that there were some issues with the process, so they were installing cameras they were installing cameras so that they could see some of the flippers from the machine. So they had this whole big project going, and I happened to be facilitating the whole plant because it was having some issues with workplace morale and with productivity. There was a lot of animosity among the employees toward themselves. There was animosity among the supervisors. There was animosity from the employees toward the managers and vice versa. So it was a really toxic environment. And so as they were talking about this plan, these managers, to insert these cameras at this processing plant, I asked them the question, what did the employees who work on that machine have to say about it? And one of the men who was in charge of this team got really, really heated about it. I mean, he just jumped right in and he goes, oh, we're not asking them. Okay, so you're not asking them. Help me understand why you don't want to ask them. What is it that you think will happen if you ask them? He goes, I'm not asking them for permission. He goes, we have the power to decide as managers. So we have the power to decide, and we're going to decide. And off he went on his tangent. This is what he didn't realize. He didn't realize that he wasn't secure in his power. He thought that asking for input about this project was the same as asking for permission. I'm here to tell you it is not. Anywhere we're at in life, if we're working with our children, working with fellow volunteers in the United Way, wherever you volunteer your time, if you're a pastor, if you're a teacher, it doesn't matter where you are, there are some things that you know you get to decide. And when we are secure in our power to decide, sometimes our power to decide is that we have the power to decide to leave. That's a power. But when we understand that, we're not afraid to get feedback from people and to get input from people. This is critical if you are in charge of a team. Because as leaders, we know that it is our job to make a decision. And once that decision is made, who's accountable for it? We are. We are the ones who are accountable. That's the role of a leader. So we can be secure in our knowledge that we are going to make the decision. What we need to do is allow that security to help us to get input from other people who may have different vantage points or who may disagree. When we know we're the one who gets to decide at the end, asking for input is no longer a threat. I want you to know when you have the power to decide, for example, if your title entitles you, if your title comes with the ability to make decisions, and you know that you've got that title no matter what this group of employees has to say, you know you'll be the one who's deciding. It is so freeing to be able to set that aside. I don't have to prove anything to anybody because I know at the end of the day, no matter what gets said, I'm the one who has to choose and I'm the one who will be accountable for the choice. It's a beautiful thing when we can embrace our power to choose. I love the thumbs up. Thank you. When we can embrace our power to choose, we are then free to ask for input from people because it's not a threat. I've used those two words together several times. When we are secure in our power, regardless of where that power lies, our power to choose our thoughts, our power to act, our power to make decisions. When we are comfortable and really understand how much power we have in those areas, all of these other situations that feel so threatening aren't anymore. And they don't require us to defend ourselves because they are not threats. Does that make sense? When we understand our power, we are not threatened. And when we aren't threatened, we aren't acting defensively. We're acting in our power, understanding who we are. There are times when we are with people who think they have the power and they're wrong. And it's not our job to convince them that they're wrong. It is never my job to convince that person who's driving like a lunatic that they're doing something wrong. It's not my job. My job is to understand my power to choose, my power to make the decision of how I'm going to act regardless of what comes my way. And when I understand my power, I change the way I look at my world, and my world changes. So that's it, you guys. The 3 areas of power. I would love to know, where do you have to remind yourself that you have power? When people are pushing your buttons, maybe it's when you're the consumer and you've been ripped off or done wrong. Maybe it's when you're coming up against somebody on the other side of a political debate and you start realizing this isn't going anywhere. Those are all areas when we remind ourselves that we have power and I get to decide. Everything changes, right? I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was something that added value to you. It's my heart to add value to you. And if you've got something to say, I'd love to hear it. You can message me on Facebook. You can drop some comments here. I love when our comments are popping and we've got good debate and good, what do you want to call it? Good conversation going in the comments. And if you've got any questions about the upcoming Leadership Mastermind, Leading in Challenging Times, this is a great place to put it. And finally, for those of you who don't subscribe or haven't liked my business page, Shannon LaBruyere, Thrive and Change, if you go and hit like, you'll be able to get notified when things get posted there. But also there's some great tabs of the services that I offer to my clients, a schedule of different things that are coming up. For example, that mastermind, some links if there's an event you want to attend. It's all there on that Thrive in Change page. Got it right. So feel free to check it out. Ron, thank you. +1 for value added. I'll take it. I'll take the +1. You guys have a fantastic night. Mwah! I love you. I just love spending time with you. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care. Bye.